Welcome to Toffee TV. It is our daily manager update that there isn't loads to update on. Really joined by Cameron in the studio. It's a fortnight now, Cam, since Carlo Ancelotti left the football club for Real Madrid. At the time he left, did you think it would take Everton a fortnight to appoint a new boss? And if so, are you quite calm with the way the situation's going, or are you getting a little bit, you just want it done?
I didn't think it'd take this long, to be honest with you. I thought they'd be quite quick on going and getting somebody in, just even if it's just to sort of calm everybody's emotions and stuff over the last, over that period of the next couple of days that followed Ancelotti's exit. But I'm sort of playing head tennis in my mind. Of 1 minute I'm like, yeah, I'm happy that they're taking the time and it's not a rush process, and then I go to, well, hang on, it's 2 weeks now since he's left, and we probably should be looking at bringing in a manager. The Euros are fully underway now. We're being linked with players left, right and centre, and before we know it, pre-season will be creeping up on us. So I'm sort of, again, in the same situation as we were last week. I know I've had a bit of an update on Nuno since, last week when I was in and we chatted about it, but I'm sort of more surprised that we seem to be in a similar situation as to what we were this time 2 weeks ago. If we were quite evidently further along the process, and maybe we are, but to us as fans it seems very much still like there's a number of names and we're talking to a number of managers, and on Friday it was Nuno and he's number one and it's done and dusted, and then we didn't hear anything for a few days, and now it's there's stuff about his backroom staff, and that Benitez is back in the equation according to some journalists. So I'm more surprised that we haven't got like a set sort of name, and we're going at that, and there's still 4 or 5 managers that are in the equation. But again, like you said, that's just from what we're hearing as fans, as the club. They might have 1 or 2 names and that's it, and that's all they're set on. But we're still looking at, is it going to be Nuno? Is it going to be Benitez? Is Galtier still in there? Is Potter still in the equation? So it's still very much loads of names thrown in the air, isn't it? But hopefully by the end of this week we'll be a little bit more wise as to who it's going to be, or certainly out of 1 or 2 or 3 names who it's going to be anyway. But no, I'm getting a bit frustrated, but I suppose it's better to take your time, isn't it, than rush into a decision.
Definitely. If I'm sitting a little bit gingerly, it's because I was out the studio and I come back in and the lads have broke the couch. And we've put it back, but if it goes in a minute, a little drop, it's because of that. No, listen, I think I'm kind of the same. I have the moments of feeling frustrated that we haven't sorted it, and then other moments where I'm like, no, you know what, it's good. I think the problem is, for me, is that if the list was, again, you've just said it, and it's right. The list that we're being fed might not necessarily be what Everton are working through, but the list that we're led to believe is under consideration, kind of thing, because there's no real great names on there. If there was like 3 or 4 managers on there, I think you'd be a little bit more excited or a bit calmer and going, oh, it could be him or it could be him. I know some people are quite happy with Nuno, Espirito Santo, others aren't. I said yesterday on the live, we did a poll over the weekend. 5,500 people voted in it, and it was 69% didn't want him, and that's quite a big sample size, really. But again, it's only on social media, so it is what it is. Rafa Benitez, I think, is a definite divisive character. I think if we did a poll on Rafa Benitez, I think probably I imagine the ones who don't want him maybe higher than that. So that's kind of where we're at. There's other names on there. I know we said last week, didn't we, the path to least resistance was Christophe Galtier, but that doesn't seem to have gone anywhere, or not that we're aware of anyway. Graham Potter is someone who I've warmed to over the last few days, I would say. Done a lot of reading on him and looked at a lot of the tactical stuff with him, and followed his journey a little bit closer than probably what I had done. And I think with the likes of Graham Potter, you'd be getting a coach and an identity, and then there's the counter argument to it, there's the pressure and can he cope, and would it work at Everton? Obviously, the likes of Duncan Ferguson is still on there, and I think the thing with whether, again, just to qualify it, we don't know if Dunk fully wants it, do we? We haven't seen a quote, but maybe Everton are looking and going, well, we'll try and get him or him, and if not, we've got Duncan's there if we want to fall back on a coach. So maybe that's where his role in this is. Eddie Howe has been mentioned a couple of times, but again, that's not really happened either. So I think where we are is kind of where we were last week.
2 weeks ago,
is that what we're led to believe and what we're being fed might not necessarily be exactly what's going on with Everton, but...
Well, we heard last week, didn't we, or the week before, last about Nuno, signing for Palace, and it was all done and dusted, and it was and they were ready to announce it and this, that and the other, and then obviously that went quiet for 24, 48 hours, and it was sort of like, oh, they're taking the time, and then next minute it's fell through because of talks with backroom staff, etc. So it sort of screams a similar situation now that it was all done and dusted on Friday night. I remember reading it on my phone on Friday, being in the pub for something to eat, and thinking it just all seems very much like, oh, it's Nuno then, and it's happened within the space of like an hour. We went from not knowing who it was and the Athletic coming out with articles saying that there's still a list of managers under consideration and a decision hasn't been made, to oh, so a decision has been made, and then obviously we had the weekend and nothing was said, and now it's sort of bits of information saying it's stalled and talks are still ongoing, but it's not as far as it maybe was thought to be on Friday. So, and I had the weekend then to go, yeah, it's Nuno, then it's going to be Nuno. So I sat down and I read some things and I was like, yeah, I'll get behind this, and trying to make it as positive as possible. And then you see some of the rumours over the last hour or so or day or so, and you're like, so it mightn't actually be Nuno, and I've just convinced myself that that's the right appointment, and that because I didn't want Nuno. He's not my number one. He's certainly not. I wouldn't be massively opposed if he come in. I'd get behind him, and you'd have to sort of deal with it, don't you? But he's certainly not my number one. But like you said, all the other names on the list, Christophe Galtier is still on the list, but again, other than Luis Campos's comments and a couple of journalists saying, oh, he's on the list, there's nothing to say that there's advanced talks or there's talks or he actually wants it. So every other name, your Potter, your Duncan Ferguson, your Eddie Howe, your Nuno, Roberto Martinez, who was on there, Rafa Benitez, who if you were to say to me out of the whole list, I'd say those names were probably more likely than your Galtiers or your Ten Hag, who hasn't really been linked, or Ralph Rangnick, who hasn't really had much said about him. Every one of those names, you sort of go, there's positives and negatives too, and like you said, there's always going to be percentages of people that go, no, I'm not interested. But it was interesting on Friday night, Saturday mornings, that even though people had said, I don't want Nuno and I don't think he's the right man for the job, a lot of people had sort of gone, well, if it's going to be Nuno, just get behind him and see how it works. He's done this positive at Wolves, he's done that positive at Wolves, and now obviously we don't know who it's going to be or what it's... We're in the same position as we were last week, aren't we? Let's be honest.
Right, let's have a look at some of the comments. Excuse me. Liam Daly, hello. Tazul Islam says, here we go again. Cal says, was it the lads? Jonathan Cheney, afternoon lads. Paul Gilchrist says, no to Nuno. Tazul says, 2 weeks since Carlo the Snake left and not a sniff of a new manager yet. North Korea says, good afternoon, fellow Blues. Why is Rafa back in the race? Has there been a new setback with Nuno? No, listen, this is just, we're just following the stories, and in the last hour or so, it's come from a few journalists that Everton are speaking to other managers as well as Nuno. I think the reports on Friday night were very premature to how far it was. I said yesterday that they were very premature. It wasn't as far as people thought. And Everton are obviously speaking to other people as well, and Rafa Benitez's name is out again today, so that's where we are.
Well, it looks at the minute like it's a setback, but if it's not as far as it was made out, then it's not really a setback. It's just where we were anyway, isn't it?
See, my feelings were like with this last week. We're on Friday. We were all in, weren't we, Friday? Yeah. And I remember saying to you on Friday, is that, I can't remember whether we said it on screen or whether it was off camera, but there's something all happened with Palace, and then the next minute it was over. So until he's actually given his signature on the contract with Contract Dave and the scarf there and Marcel Brands, then anything could happen, because Crystal Palace were absolutely convinced it was done. They were getting ready for the press shots and all that, and the next minute he's not the manager. So
absolutely.
So I think really the same with Everton. Kale says, Carlo the Snake. Valhalla Viking says, the daily non-update afternoon. Talha Sadiq says, I reckon the deal is done. This news is for the bookies to squeeze more money out of bets. But if that was the case, why would Everton be involved in that?
Yeah.
We wouldn't, would they? Everton just won it out.
You'd like to think that as soon as a deal is done, be it with Nuno or somebody else, Everton will get it out straight away. Because it just puts that, it gets rid of it then, doesn't it? It's not an issue anymore.
Yeah,
whether we agree with them or not, or whether we agree with who comes in or not, once it's done, get it announced, and then fans will digest it and warm to it, and people might still disagree with it, but most people will go, not the number one choice, but we'll get behind.
Well, we'll get on to
players,
won't we? Which is what we all agreed was Everton's pressing problem this summer. I mean, I don't think any of us kind of thought
manager was
after
going to be
the Man City game that we'd have a new manager, would we?
Yeah.
Especially when Ancelotti's like, we know what we're doing in the transfer market, blah, blah, blah. We were all kind of going, right, we need this, we need that. But at the minute, that's all. I know Everton are pressing ahead, trying to press ahead with a couple of deals, Denzel Dumfries being one of them, but we're still in that situation where you're looking and going,
we still need those
like, we need a winger, but hang on. Are we now going to go after that winger if we get Nuno? Because Nuno plays this and it doesn't necessarily buy into... And you've got all of that. And I think Everton will want, when they can and when they feel like they've got the right person, Everton will want to, like you just said, get all of that sorted so that if it is Nuno or if it's Rafa Benitez or if it's Eddie Howe or if it's Graham Potter, whoever it may be, we'll go, right, we've got our manager now. We've took our time. He's the right man. This is what we're doing next.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kieran Brownbill says, live show after live show, is this what it's like being a patron? I'll have to sort it out. Of course it is. Because once the manager's done it, we'll be doing daily lives on the Footy Show, but we won't be doing them on Toffee TV as regularly, unless you're a patron.
There'll probably still be odds on the next Everton manager, even when the next manager's...
even when it's there.
When it's announced.
American Pie says, Everton won a League Cup or England win the Euros or the World Cup.
Everton win a League
For me, Everton.
Everton
all day long.
Yeah,
Everton all day long. Niall Peckham says we should walk away from the Nuno deal. That's an interesting one, isn't it?
Well, yeah, that was what said Palace did, didn't he? They walked away because... And again, a lot of the stuff we read about the Palace deal falling through seems that... Not that it's the same situation now, but it could very well be. If we sit here next week and they go, oh yeah, it was the same as what happened with Palace, I wouldn't be surprised. That's all. Apparently, all agreed everything with Palace and then wanted more, wanted extra demands or wanted them to sign certain players from Wolves. And it's not out the realms of possibility for Nuno and Everton to have agreed on Friday night and then on Saturday morning have said, I want this player to come in, I want this amount of backroom staff to come in, etc. That wouldn't be out the realms of possibility. So, yeah, again, maybe we have, maybe we haven't. I still think he's on the list. I still think he's probably a target, maybe number one, maybe number two. But like you said, I don't think it's as far down the list. I don't think it's as far down the process as to what it was made out to be. It seemed very premature, even just from the basis of that. All of Friday afternoon, we sat in here and it was nothing. No, you'd have thought you'd have at least had something. Some journalist would have said it's Nuno, it's new. But we had nothing.
Look at Spurs. They've got Patricia, haven't they, as the director of football. They announced that. Then it was Paulo Fonseca. It looks like it's moving with him. Then it was Paulo Fonseca in advanced talks. Then it was Paulo Fonseca. It's agreed.
There you go, yeah.
Then it's Paulo Fonseca just waiting to sign the deal.
Yeah.
And that's it. Everyone else has dropped away. And it's Paulo Fonseca.
And that's been for days and
We've
days.
not had that whatever.
Nope.
We had all of a sudden Dominic King giving it Nuno. And then obviously Paul Joyce got involved, I think.
Sky,
said
Fabrizio Romano did as well.
Romano, it's Nuno, and then all of a sudden it's not as far down the line. So quite clearly there's other issues, and we know that with Crystal Palace.
And it was the same set of journalists who had Nuno and Palace in advance. Thought Nuno and Palace had done. Fabrizio Romano was all
so
over
therefore that also though makes me believe that where's the feed coming from? Is it Nuno's side?
Yeah, it's probably his side, Probably his side.
And it's forces, sometimes it forces the club's hand. So you put it out and go, yeah, it's him. It forces the club to go, well, hang on, the fans are going to, got to make a decision quickly here. And Everton, fair play to them, haven't done that so far, so we'll have to wait and see. Tazul says, well done you guys for making these daily videos. It's keeping us entertained. Cheers, Tazul. Sol says, looks fairly obvious. Mashiri wants a Premier proven manager, therefore can't see them going for Galtier. Shame for me, as Rafa and Nuno are underwhelming. Fair points. Sol, it does look like that. That's how it seems.
The Premier League Rafa Benitez managed in is a much different Premier League to what we're in now. It's a much different kettle of fish.
It's gone again, hasn't it? It's a couple of years he's been out the game. And has he been an elite manager? I don't think he has for a while, has he?
7 years.
Yeah, that Real Madrid and stuff. Even Napoli, so... Niall Peckham says, please no Rafa. Evertonian Luke says, I don't know how I feel. I don't want Nuno, but I don't want Rafa. Is it just picking the best of the bad bunch? Just give it to Dunk before any of these. Depressing. Don't forget, the one thing we both, me and Cam, have both kind of reiterated a couple of times is that this is just what we're being fed.
Yeah.
Isn't it? We, you know, like Cameron said before, and it's something I said last week, for all we know, Everton have got a clear list of a couple of people and they're keeping the cards very close to the chest. Which, to be fair, Everton kind of have done. There's been nothing really coming out. I seen Daniel Levy the other day. I thought it was really good, actually, Levy.
Sat down, didn't he?
He sat down and spoke about the process and where they were up to. And then he asked them about a couple and he said, I'm not going to discuss names. I'm just telling you that we're doing this and we're doing that. We've identified this and this is what we're trying to do. Everton don't do anything like that. No. And it's nonsense, really. And I think, for me, it's the kind of thing Everton needs to start doing. It's the kind of thing our director of football needs to start doing. He needs to start fronting stuff up instead of jogging on and speaking to Dutch newspapers and stuff. Yeah. Talk to Everton as a club should be doing it. If they can't do it, I'll do it. Me and Ped will do it. Yeah. And we'll speak to him because they should really be going, this is what, you know, where are we up to? And they can just turn around and go, right, we're in the process. We're looking at this, this and this. Doesn't have to give us names.
Yeah.
Does he? Doesn't have to give names, but he could say, this is where we're up to. Now, some people might disagree and go, why did he need to do that? That's fine. But there's a lot of fans who are worried and going, oh, well, what's happening and this, that, you know.
It's like the stadium stuff, isn't it? We hadn't heard much. Whenever there's silence, there's doubt and then there's speculation. And obviously the stadium, the preliminary works are starting yesterday and that got come out through the Liverpool Echo. Why can't Denise Barrett-Baxendale or Marcel Brands or Farhad Moshiri sit down in front of a camera and go, we've got an update on the stadium here. And then everyone would go, oh yeah, boss, it's where it needs to be, absolutely. And I know that it's still being put out in some form or way, but the club, certainly not on the club social media, haven't acknowledged that the preliminary works are starting. It's come from the Echo and we've heard all that.
Well, they've
from
been
other
fed
sources.
by the club.
They've been fed
but
it.
You're right.
But why not just come out and say it yourselves? And
Connor Wilkins says we're going to go to the US. Or we're going to come to the US. I'm assuming Connor's in America. We're going to come to the US without a manager, aren't we? Nah, we'll have a manager by then, mate. Yeah. Martin Carter says, give Duncan this season. If he does well, good. If not, might have a better pool of managers to pick from. Interesting. Tazil says, give it to Potter. Valhalla Viking says, hopefully the Nuno stuff has fallen through. I doubt it's Rafa, but the fact they haven't got Nuno sounds like they have doubts. Rightfully so, what comes with them. I'd rather they take the time. Yeah, good point. And I think that is for a lot of people. I don't even necessarily think it's all Nuno. I think there's a worry of what else goes with it. And Everton, the problem is when you bring in a manager in who brings in half a dozen staff.
And an agent.
If it goes wrong, then you're paying a lot of money to get them out the door again. Yeah. And you're starting from scratch again with all of those staff need replacing and the methods and all of that. And if it's fine if he goes, listen, I'm bringing these 4 people with me and we're all, whatever contract you kind of give us, we're happy with, without making mad demands. You'd think you'd just want to get there. If you're making demands, and that's by all accounts what was happening at Crystal Palace, then you kind of look at it and go, is this fella actually worth the hassle?
Yeah.
You know, if he's guaranteed to come in and get us into Europe and win trophies, then you go, well, look what he brings, though. Yeah. You know, with Mourinho, and I'm not kind of backing Jose Mourinho, he's at Roma anyway, so it's irrelevant. But with Mourinho, there's kind of evidence that he wins. Okay, he didn't do it at Spurs, but he generally wins trophies. Yeah. So you kind of go, there's going to be...
Got to a fan at Spurs and then they got rid of him, though.
Exactly, so he might have won something. And I think they got rid of him because they were worried that he would win, even though they play City, which is mad. You kind of go, he brings a lot of crap with him, but he generally wins a trophy. He delivers something. Yeah. So you kind of go, all right, well, that's what we're trying to do. And he was brought in at Spurs to try and get them over the line and win a trophy, wasn't he? But for someone like Nuno, he hasn't really got that gravitas of I win trophies and I do this. So
but maybe he's got the demands of that.
Yeah, maybe Everton are just looking and going. Giles Larkman says Alan Kerbersley making a late run. Midnight Ghost says, give it to me, I'd do a better job. Should see my career mode on FIFA. Tazul says Mark Hughes is available. Talking of career mode on FIFA, make sure you check out Cam and Ned's latest one. The thumbnail is them with suits on, which is quite good actually. Giles says Parsons on a 10-year contract. I think he might mean Parts. I'd give Party just for the dance. Gary Megson says James Morgan. Alex Jordan Levictus says Wenger in. Imagine getting Wenger. Be a classic shout. Jackson Schreiner says Wenger as well. I don't know whether he'd want it.
Isn't he a director somewhere?
Of FIFA.
Is he? Yeah, so.
He's like FIFA's general director, isn't he?
Definitely not coming to Everton.
No. Why would he want to?
He had his last few years of management were very sort of hard hitting, I'd say, wasn't he, on him? Certainly with the fans and stuff like that.
They were, but since he's gone, they haven't lived up to
No, I know
heights,
that's what I mean, but I mean,
yeah,
his age now, he'd probably look and go, it'd probably be worse at Everton than it was at Arsenal.
I think he's 70 now or 71. He's probably like, go to Everton. Nah, you're all right, mate. Wayne Ellis says it's becoming a joke, to be honest, Baz. Fair enough. Wait, what do you want them to do, Wayne? Just give us a little thing back. What is your ideal scenario? Like, who would you get and what do you think they should be doing? Tazul says Roy Hodgson. No. Nice fella, Roy, but no. Giles says, okay, hear me out, Graham Souness. Nope.
Oh my God.
Eugene says Everton needs to give the Everton manager job to Duncan Ferguson. Okay. Tobias Everson says, do you guys want the Matheus Nunes? Matheus Nunes from Sporting Lisbon.
I don't know an awful lot about him. I'm not going to sit here and try and blag that I know an awful lot about him. I've seen some video clips of him on YouTube and Twitter and social media, and I'm fully aware that it's very easy to make a footballer look absolutely brilliant. I remember watching clips of Umar Niasse thinking we've replaced Lukaku with a player that's 10 times better than him, and I was massively wrong. So I get that, you know, what you watch on, you know, social media and stuff has to be taken with a massive pinch of salt because it only shows the good bits. But he looks like a good footballer. 6 foot, isn't he? 22 years old, over 6 foot, 22 years old. Looks like he's good with the ball at his feet. Moves forward with the ball, confident on it as well. Likes to take responsibility from what I've seen. So yeah, he's the right type of player I think we should be looking at. And I can only really say that much because I haven't watched him week in, week out for Sporting because I don't watch the Portuguese league. But he looks like a good young prospect, put it that way.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know an awful lot about him. I've seen the stuff Cam's watched. I've looked at a bit of stuff on Y Scouts. I've had a chat with the Piv about him, and he looks like he's got good attributes of over 6 foot, box to box, and get about the pitch, can travel with the ball as well. But is he fully ready to go into Everton's midfield in the Premier League? Don't know. He's the one advantage he's got is he can actually run, which is a huge thing to get in Everton's midfield. So there you go.
Which answers our question, really. Yeah, he is fully ready to go in Everton's midfield.
There you go.
If he can move.
There you go. Ian Clark said it's been hard to get enthusiastic, but when I do it, it then gets exhausting. Liam Floyd says, I couldn't say to Rafa Benitez, if he became the Everton manager, it'd be like Allardyce all over again. Yeah, it would. I mean, what are you pointing at, Ned?
Oh, Benitez.
Oh, the odds. All right, Ned wants us to do the odds, so let's do the odds. Okay, go on and let's have a look at the latest odds. Nuno still the favourite 1-2. Rafa Benitez now in at second favourite 3-1. Christophe Galtier still there but out at 12-1 now. Graham Potter and Eddie Howe both at 14-1. So yeah, drifted. I think Duncan's at about 18-1 now as well, isn't he? And then you've got others back at 20s, Frank Lampard and people. So yeah, it is what it is. I mean, that is literally just people putting money on it, though. I mean, that's what it is, isn't it?
It means very little betting odds, doesn't it? We could go and all lash £100 on a name that's not even in that list, and they'd go straight to the top because of people putting money on it. So, and the betting odds will fluctuate through various different rumours. So Rafa's up there because a rumour come out today that he was under consideration again, so people will put money on him because he was 33-1 or something the other day. Where it was Friday night when Nuno was apparently being announced. So again, I wouldn't take too much from the betting odds, put it that way. I think it's easy to go, oh, they know something we don't know, but they don't know anything we don't know.
No. Joe McKenna says, don't know if it's true, but there was a picture leaked of Nuno wearing the new orange and black Everton gear at the Titanic. Do you want to debunk that one, Cam?
Oh, it seems very, very photoshopped. And I'm pretty sure there was a swimming pool behind them as well. And I've been in the Titanic reception, and there is no swimming pools in the Titanic reception. So, yeah.
Where are we? If Nuno keeps making these so-called demands, he'll never get a job, says Tazul. That's correct, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
That is correct. Max Barlow says, seen some links to Fark. What do you think? Plays attacking football, and I think he'd be suitable under Brands. Daniel Fark,
Norwich.
He's not. I don't think Everton would go for Fark for the simple reason that I think they'd want to give him at least a year to have a look at him in the Premier League. He's done well with Norwich, but he went down at Norwich, didn't he?
Yeah.
So, and I couldn't see him leaving Norwich. I know Everton is a step up, of course, but still, I don't think Everton would go for him.
No, Everton wouldn't. It's the same as the Frank situation, isn't it? Not Frank Lampard. Frank from Mans gone blank. He's just come up.
No, from Brentford.
Tony, Brentford, yeah. It's sort of like, and I know Favre's, he's been in the Premier League before, but there's that risk, isn't it? There's that element of, can he do it at a Premier League club that are trying to breach the European places? Or is he just a up and down manager? Yeah. I don't think he'd be on the list anyway.
No. SR says, as long as Brands are signing the players and they're not being held up because of the manager, then they can take as long as they need to get the right fit. That's a good point. That is a good point. James Haywood says, I like Frank, but we need stability. Kick Talk says, Big Dunk deserves a chance. Neil Leatherbarrow says, just go out and get Potter now.
Harry?
What are your thoughts on Harry Potter? Have I asked you? Did I ask you last week?
Boss.
What are your thoughts on Graham Potter then?
I'm sort of in the same, I'm not in the same bracket as I am with Nuno, but I'm sort of in that same, I keep head tennising from, yeah, he'd be great to, no, there's negatives. There is obviously clear negatives, i.e. not winning more than 10 Premier League matches in a single season. We won 11 away last season and still we're very disappointed with the outcome of it. But then you look at some of the stats, the XG, the XA, and Brighton are, a top team without a goal scorer effectively. Would he be able to come and implement that at Everton? With Dominic it's very easy, isn't it, to say, well, if Brighton had Dominic Calvert-Lewin, they'd be very good and they'd be in Europe. And I get that. If they had Dom's goals, then that would make sense. But again, I wouldn't be massively against him. I don't think he's the worst name on the list, and I think he's better than a lot of the other names, and I'd rather him than Rafa Benitez, I'd rather him than Eddie Howe, I'd rather him than Roberto Martinez. But I understand people's concerns if Brighton's expectations are here and Everton's expectations are there. The criticism thing really thingies me a little bit. It's a massive worry because there's not a chance he's getting a fraction of the criticism at Brighton as to what he'd get at Everton. Yeah. He's getting that tenfold. Yeah, and I worry if he'd be able to handle it. Certainly considering he come out himself and said the criticism from Brighton fans, affects him a little bit. I just think you need to be really made of stone to be an Everton manager, don't you? You need to be able to front it.
And that's why some people might say, well, Benitez then.
Yeah, but he
went in at Chelsea, didn't he? And he had to try and front it up at Chelsea. They didn't even want him.
Definitely that trait that Benitez has got, but I just don't think any of the other traits is really what Everton
I think he's always 2 or 3 games away from a crisis if he becomes the Everton manager, isn't he?
His past.
Hating Benitez. Liam Floyd says, Nuno has massive backroom staff. That's a big problem. What would happen to Big Dunk? I'm sure he'd be asked if he wants to keep Dunk. And then if he doesn't, then Duncan will have to move on, won't he? But he might want to keep Duncan for the stability and to have someone who knows the players and
as well
knows the club.
Nuno Espirito Santo will know there's a section of Everton fans that aren't fully for him. He'll understand that there's a lot of Everton fans, a minority, majority, whatever, that aren't convinced and a little bit sceptical about him. So maybe he'll keep Duncan on to sort of level it a little bit. Because if he gets rid of Duncan, then there's going to be even more of an uproar from a lot of Evertonians. So maybe he'll say, well, we'll keep older Duncan, as if to say, look, Duncan's staying. He's going to be the assistant. He's going to be on the sideline again to maybe try and soften the blow. Maybe, if that's the right saying.
Yeah. We all want, this is off Nordic Sniffle, we all want attacking football, but we are constantly linked to managers that were ex-defenders. Last ex-attacker we had as a manager was Joe Royle 25 bloody years ago. It was. James Haywood says if Dunk could take it, he has to have it for me. James Evans says Dunk is and always was the man. Wormy Spoon says Duncan should go of the manager's job. Duncan should go and get a manager's job so he's ready in 12 months when Nuno goes. Not like some positive thinking there. Josh Eardley says, and makes a good point, I just want a manager who wants to be at our club.
Yeah.
That's the thing, isn't it?
But it's also, it's mad, isn't it? Because it's that whole saying of like with the Carlo stuff is, you could bring a manager that comes in and says, oh God, this is the biggest job I've ever had. I can't wait to work here. I want to be here forever. And we all might go, oh yeah, he wants to be here. And then in 12 months' time, someone else comes knocking. Like Ancelotti wanted to be at the club when he was talking about how much he loved us and he loved Crosby and it was boss. But then as soon as someone else comes sniffing, he left. So it's hard to know, with Duncan, obviously, because of the connection and obviously his past and stuff. But any other manager that comes in, I wouldn't be completely convinced they want to be at Everton, or they certainly want to be here for the long run anyway. Some of them might be just coming in going, right, do well here, and I'll go on and get a job somewhere else. You can never trust the word that any of them say, can you?
No, because they're not us.
Come out with. Exactly.
They're not us, are they? We love it and we think our club's the best and the biggest. And no, why should anyone want to leave our club? It's amazing and all that. But for people who are not Evertonians, to just go, you're a mid-table team, basically.
Yeah.
Now it's up to them to turn us into a European side. And who knows, if they did and had success with it, then they might go, actually, I'm staying here, this is boss. But if they don't, then they get off. Hayden Gaskell says, get Conte in, paying 20 million a season. Go and then sign Grealish and pay the FFP. What? Like, I am as big a blue and as optimistic and don't believe any club's bigger than my club. But I don't see a world where Jack Grealish thinks that swapping Villa for Everton at the moment is his next logical step. Tell me I'm wrong, Cam.
He's not coming to Everton. He's not coming to
Everton. If Everton went in for a bid of 70 million, what do you think Jack Grealish would do?
Probably just go, I'm all right.
Yeah.
I'll wait for somebody else to come in with a bid of 70 million. I think Everton are a bigger club than Villa, and I think Everton, like you, are the best club in the world and the most amazing club in the world. But like you said, Jack Grealish is looking at teams that are playing in the Champions League consistently, teams that are challenging for trophies consistently, not an Everton side that are fighting with his current club for league position season in, season out. So, we spoke, didn't we, a few months back about this whole just lashing FFP out the window and just spending as much money as possible. But the reality of the situation is Everton won't do that.
No.
Much as we want them to do that, Everton won't break the rules. Because knowing us, them teams got a slap on the wrist and a £3 million fine.
Yeah.
We'd get our bloody stadium burnt down and our rights taken off us and we'd have to start again. They'd just go, no, you're not having that. Yeah. So,
because they don't want us to upset it.
That's it. He wouldn't come here anyway.
Damien Hagan says, what's the big hype about Potter? He's a crap man, paraphrasing. He's not a very good manager. Why do we always settle for these not very good managers? Get looking for a better proven winner is what we need. Well, who then, Damien?
Yeah.
Who?
Yeah, it's a good,
Give us some names. Because people would say Rafa Benitez is a winner and a proven manager. Would you have him? SR says if Nuno coming in means Dunk has to leave, well, Nuno can do one. Okay. Tazzel says problem with Duncan is that I don't think he'll be able to attract big name players. What do you make of that, Cam? What do you make of that? I've seen that a couple of times regarding Duncan, and to be honest, I've also seen it with regards to Potter. So, what do you say to that?
I agree with it. I think Duncan maybe couldn't attract big name players, but I don't necessarily think Everton need big name players, to be honest with you. I mean, Everton need to be recruiting players that see Everton as a step up and not Everton as a step down. Everton need to be bringing in young, hungry players that think, right, this is my chance now, i.e. your Ben Godfreys, this team has given me an opportunity to play in the Premier League again. And okay, those players in 5-6 years' time mightn't be at Everton because they might be somewhere else. But in order to go somewhere else, they've had to impress at Everton and therefore they've had to make Everton better. I don't think we should, again, be looking in the areas of... And it's hard because there's some really good young players out there, and I get people say, oh, a big name player might be, I don't know, a Leon Bailey or a Diaby or something, but ultimately you look at those players and think, are they going to want a Champions League football? Are they going to want to come to Everton? Are they going to want to go to a team in the Premier League that are already in Europe and fighting for trophies? I think Everton needs a sort of... The thing is with Duncan Ferguson, if he was to come in, it'd be Marcel Brands. I think Duncan would be happy to say to Marcel Brands, you bring in the players you want, I'll have an input, i.e. you come to me with the players you want to bring in, and I'll say, oh yeah, he looks good, he looks physical enough, he looks quick enough, etc, etc. But it'd be Marcel Brands massively leading that recruitment sort of, pool, whatever you want to call it.
Name me a manager who, apart from Pep Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp maybe, who Everton can get, who players would be desperate to come and play for. Because we just had one.
But yeah, we just had one and he's gone. Well,
are players desperate to come and play for Nuno Espirito Santo?
No.
Are people desperate to come and play for Eddie Howe? Are people desperate? So that's one thing I do disagree with when people go, can't attract big name players. It's got nothing to do with that. The club attracts the players. Yeah. The coach is there to coach.
Yeah.
Are people desperate to go to Dortmund and play for, their new coach? Are people desperate to go to, all right, Nagelsmann's one because they know he's a really good coach, but were people desperate to play for Hansi Flick at Bayern? No, I don't think so. Are people desperate to go and play for Mikel Arteta?
No.
I don't think so. Maybe they will be in 3 or 4 years, but right now, I'm not convinced. Are people desperate to go and play for Paulo Fonseca because Spurs have just given him a job? No, not really.
Yeah.
Are people desperate to play for Gunnar Solskjaer? No, they might be desperate to play for Manchester United.
Yeah.
They ain't desperate to play for Solskjaer. So it is about the club. Sometimes, yeah, I get it. We had Ancelotti, we were able to get James in and we were able to get Alan here. But would we have been able to get Sergio Aguero with Carlo Ancelotti? Probably not. Yeah. Would we have been able to get Jadon Sancho?
But do we want Sergio Aguero?
No, but we'd want Sancho. But would he come to Everton because of Ancelotti? Nah, because Everton aren't where they need to be. So you'd have to temper that with, well, the club, it's about the club, and it is, you're right, it is about going and getting those other players, like you just said, who are the ones who you look and go, well, these are on the way up, and we're trying to get on the way up, so we'll go together.
Yeah.
That's what it's about for me. A lot of people saying no to Rafa. Del Boy says, Rafa out, big dunk in. Well, Rafa's not in at the moment, so it's fine.
He's in out there now, shaking all about at the minute.
Yeah. Tazrul says Mancini. Hayden Gaskell says, you guys interviewing Brands would be class. It would be. James says Mancini is an interesting shout. Although a lot of people don't rate Mancini either. So it's one of them. Eamon Lochane says Duncan all day long. Clampo says, would love Dunk, but it's a gamble. Can we afford to take a gamble? Passion can only take you so far. But do we know that? I mean, you're right. You're absolutely right. It is a gamble. And there will be that question of, can we afford to take a gamble? Of course there is. But the big thing about with Dunk, and people just say, oh, it's passion. It can only get you there. How do we know it's only passion?
Yeah, we don't. We don't.
And that's the thing. I mean, a lot of players will say he's a really good coach, like a really good coach. Yannick Bolasie, talking about him. Other players, Dominic Calvert-Lewin's praised him. Romelu Lukaku's praised him for the work he does on the pitch. Carlo Ancelotti praised him. So do we know? Well, you'd only know. I think it's an easy stick to beat him with, to just go, it's all passion. Yeah, he is passionate. And yet, don't forget, people are judging that, and rightly so, because that's the only sample we've got.
Yeah.
When he got in as the caretaker manager. But we were in December, in the middle of a bad run.
Yeah.
And he got in, he had no real time, really. The first game, he took it, he had one training session before we played Chelsea, that was it. So his thing was, right, you're going to go out and make them proud of you. Yeah. That was his team talk, and he did. And then he had obviously 5 players out for Man United the week later, so he was. But when you're thrown in a December, I mean, did Carlo Ancelotti do loads of coaching in that first few games that he took over in? No, he kept Duncan's formation.
Yeah.
Duncan played 4-4-2. Ancelotti come in and went, yeah, just leave it at 4-4-2. So I don't know whether they might be right. It might be just passion, but
you don't know.
We don't know, and we wouldn't know until he's been given the opportunity and who he brings in around them and what they do together. So I think that to me, just a little bit of an unfair stick to just beat him, to say he's only passion.
Well, the people at the club should know how good of a coach he is, i.e. the board, i.e. Brands should know from players. And maybe players might be going to Brands and going, do you know what, this fella's a brilliant coach here. Dominic Calvert-Lewin might be knocking on the door going, he's brought me on tenfold, he's absolutely fantastic. And like you said, he might come in and he might fail massively and be exposed for his lack of tactical, or maybe his lack of tactical knowledge. And then people might say, oh look, we were right, he wasn't good enough, he's not experienced enough, he doesn't have the tactical brain to do it. Or he might come in and surprise a lot of people and go, oh my God, actually, do you know what? Maybe he doesn't just need to be an unbelievable tactician, maybe he just needs to be a good coach with the players, and that's what these players need. Because let's be honest, like we said before, we can't kid ourselves. We need 5 or 6 players this summer to be anything, to be half decent. This isn't a squad that's ready for somebody to go in and turn them into magicians. This squad's a squad full of players that the majority of them aren't good enough and need replacing. So you don't know, and it is easy and understandable to say it's pure passion and he's got no experience and he wouldn't be able to do the job. And that's right, he's got no experience, but you wouldn't know if he can do the job or not until he's given the job and shows he can or he can't do it. Yeah. And that's or given another job elsewhere and showing he can coach or he can't coach, but he's not going to have that passion elsewhere. So it's one of them, isn't it? It's like I said last week, it's Duncan Ferguson at the moment. It's like Marmite, isn't he, with fans? You either really want him or you're dead against it.
Yeah. Definitely. Brandt says Big Duncan should be given a chance as he's pure blue, and even Ancelotti wanted to take him.
Brandt saying that?
Yeah. Plus most fans love him when he's got balls. And then you've got Everton FL, which I think might be Everton Florida, but I'm not sure. Says Brandt Myers, do you like championship football? Do you not want us to sign anyone? See, that to me is I don't think you can say that. I don't think you can say, do you like championship football? Like, you know what he's going to be like. And do you want us to sign anyone? Like, no one would come and play for him. So,
but he gets sacked in December if we were that, or at some point if we were that.
And listen, I've got no issue with you going, in my opinion, I don't think he's good enough. That's fine, because I'm not here to tell you you're right, you're wrong, because I don't know, do I? But I just think it's like there's 2 sides to everything. I just don't think it's as cut and dry to go, we got him, we're facing relegation, because where's the evidence? Yeah. He's actually still the only Everton manager who's had more than 1 game and hasn't lost. So, evidence-wise, people would go, well, hang on, he had 3 games in the league against Chelsea, Manchester United and Arsenal, and he never lost. Took 5 points out of 9 from a team that was awful when he took over. If you wanted to defend him, that would be one way to say it. I get the other side of it, where people go, yeah, but can he do that over 38 games? We don't know, it's the reality, but I don't think you can turn around and go, you definitely get relegated if you put Duncan in charge, and who could he sign? Because I'm not having anybody, apart from maybe Antonio Conte, who's walking in to Finch Farm, holding the Everton scarf up, and players are clamouring to get to Goodison because of the manager. Yeah. I don't think there's anybody on that list, even Conte, who's just won the league and is really good at what he does. Yes, he'd have more of a pull than Dunk, of course he would, but he'd have more of a pull than Graham Potter. He'd have more of a pull than Nuno.
Yeah.
I honestly don't see players going, I want to play for Everton because of Nuno. Maybe a couple of the Wolves players might. Yeah. But other players around the league in Europe, no. Yeah. No. If they come in, it's because they think, well, Everton will pay me good money. It's the Premier League. They're ambitious because of this ground. And if I do well, I'll get a move somewhere else. That's the kind of players you're getting at the moment. Yeah. And that's okay. That's okay. It's okay to be like that at the minute because you're both on the journey then. But it's a tough one to just go one or the other. Brian Mulcahy says, Baz, you're the favourite to clinch the manager's job. Well, you know what? Why not?
There you go.
Why not? Some of these names, I've seen Mark Hughes put forward for it the other day, and Martin O'Neill was another one. Martin O'Neill, like. Incredible. Del Boy says, how about Steve Cooper? Well, the Swansea manager, nah, not for me. He's done well with Swansea, but ultimately they didn't get up. Nah, I think no. I think the only reason I give like Duncan Ferguson any kind of how you'd entertain Duncan is because of the personality, because of the Everton connection, and because he's a strong character. And because of that, people kind of know him. Bringing someone like Steve Cooper in, who hasn't done it in the Premier League, you're putting him under huge pressure.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
He might go on to be a great coach. He's clearly a decent coach. There's no question about it. But I think it would take someone a bit more than that, I think.
I agree.
Thomas Williams says, all right, lads, still hoping there's a chance on Gaultier. Nuno and Benitez don't inspire me. Where are we? Robert Workman says, why no mention of Joachim Löw, Jürgen Löw, however they call him. He'll be free after Euro 2020.
I don't know, he's never really linked anywhere, is he really? I remember there was rumours about him leaving Germany a couple of years ago and they just never.
He's been linked to us before, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Was it 2016 he was linked when we got Koeman?
Yeah, but I think it was just, again...
Yeah, it was just a link.
Fan speculation sort of stuff rather than actual anything in it. That's all. He's obviously not on the list.
The problem is he's been with Germany for years,
long,
isn't it? Is it 20 years or it's 60? He's been with Germany for years, hasn't he? So going back into club football, coming into the Premier League where you've never worked, coming out of international football back into that.
Yeah, very difficult.
I worry when I see us linked with Martinez, and I think, well, he's been out of club football for 5 years, and it was us he left. And when he left us, he didn't have a Magoo. Mr. Magoo, did he? So,
all right, when you're doing well managing, you know, the best players of that nation, and it's a rich footballing nation like Belgium, isn't it?
Yeah.
If he brings Rom back with him, then get him in.
Well, exactly. Yeah, if he can bring Rom, and if he can persuade Kevin De Bruyne to come, then every day.
Tielemans as well.
James Hughes says a good call on Joachim Löw, but there, Robert, he's seen it and done it all. Would it be too different from managing from international football? Brandt says in response to the relegation shout, no, I don't like Championship football, but some of the names being mentioned are a step backwards. At least Duncan will get the team playing, so give him a chance. James Morgan says dismissing every option but not giving a good alternative. That is what's going on at the moment, isn't it? It is a case of everyone's going, no, we're not having him, but they can't give you a name.
Yeah.
Because it's dead easy to be. It's like I've always said, it's the easiest thing in the world is people just being negative. It's the easiest thing to do, especially on this stuff like this.
Yeah.
Sit there and everyone's crap and you're crap and he's crap and they're crap and without giving any kind of reasoned, not arguments even, but reasoned points of view as to why.
Absolutely.
Joe McKenna says Bielsa, his style would light up Goodison Park. He ain't leaving Leeds for Everton.
Yeah.
Sadly.
And Leeds fans will jump on that, by the way.
Yeah.
You'll have loads of them in the comments.
Oh, God, imagine.
It's like they've got a Bielsa thing in the brain.
Yeah,
where
but
as soon as he's mentioned, it's
fair
like...
play to them, though, because...
Oh, no, absolutely.
Listen, if Everton were in Europe, then I'd be going, well, hang on, where yous have just got up, can you do it this season? If you do it this season, fair play to you. For all they know, they could be 15th or 16th this season. I don't think they will be, but they could do. I mean, Everton could do that as well. But where Everton are, they finished above us.
Yeah.
Albeit on goal distance, but they finished above us. So Bielsa's not going to go, yeah, all right, I'll go there, is he? Just, it ain't happening. It'd be interesting to watch. I think we'd all be like that, wouldn't we?
I don't think we could cope.
We couldn't cope with the fact that 9 of them just leg it. I mean, our players, people say Duncan Ferguson worked the players hard. I seen someone going, Duncan couldn't have the players doing that every week. They'd be destroyed after 6 weeks. Our players would be dead with Bielsa. They literally wouldn't have any legs, would they? They'd all be out for about 3 months because he literally... Imagine Fabian Delph trying to run for Bielsa. Oh my God.
Imagine trying to run for a bus, never mind for Bielsa.
Our players would literally just be like, oh, I can't play for a few weeks. Yeah. Just played 2 games in a week. Liam said, nice seeing you and Aldi recently, Baz, with your Everton mask. Personally, I'd like Potter just because I think he's long-term and can give us continuity while playing some nice football. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, to be honest, Liam. I understand everybody's concerns, and to be honest, I was probably with them about a week ago.
Yeah.
But the more it goes on, I'm going, off these names, and again, we have to reiterate that these are just names that are out there. But of these names, I'm looking deeper than it now. I'm going, right, what do I want to see from my Everton side? I want to see attacking football, right? So I look down the list and I see Rafa Benitez and I go, And I see Nuno and I go, if it's Wolves the first year, then yeah. If it's Wolves the last 18 months, nah, not for me. We've just watched that with Ancelotti. And I'm burnt from Allardyce and Ancelotti type of football, and Silva just losing the plot, and Koeman losing it, and Martinez's last couple of seasons. We've all got a form of PTSD.
Yeah,
haven't we? Really. A slight form of it, obviously, and it is a joke before anyone gets thingy. But we have got a bit of like we're just downtrodden for years, and it's boring. So I want to see that. I want to, you know what, like the Bielsa shout before. I want a bit of that for Everton. Leeds fans have had the boss season where, all right, I don't want us to be going to United and getting beat 6-3 and going, woo, we're coming forward. You have a go in a minute, but. They've had some great away. Like they went out like Burnley, like 4-0 away. When Everton wouldn't go and win 4-0 at Burnley. Might win 1-0 or 2-1. You know what I mean? No, you want to see a team where it's all attacking and you're trying to win games. And I think the more I've read and looked at the stuff Graham Potter's done, and I've looked at the stats, and I've looked at... He's a fella who's got an identity of what he wants to do and how he realises that he has to do things differently than the other teams, and you're looking for small margins, and I think that's always important. I think David Moyes did that really well when he come to Everton. It was, you haven't got, because he didn't have any money. It was like, how can we compete without doing what they're doing? And he found other ways, and good managers do that. Other managers have done, I mean, to be fair to Moyes, he's just done it at West Ham. Hasn't he? He's got them into Europe. Now, can he sustain it? That's the difficult thing, of course. But for Everton, you know, we tried a few of the other things, and they've not worked either. We've had Portuguese managers, we've had Dutch managers, we've had Belgian managers, you know, we've had an Italian, you know, it's, what can we do? So
we just need, like you said, a bit of sustainability, someone that's going to come in and just rally the whole club up, from the fans to the players to the backroom staff to the board, and just get us all sort of going in the same direction and thinking the same and working towards the same plan and pathway. And out of those names on the list, like I said, there isn't just one that sticks out massively that you go, it's him, he's the fella. And maybe that's why Everton are taking the time. Maybe they're waiting for there to be one like it was with Ancelotti, where it was very much, it's going to be David Moyes, it's going to be David, and then all of a sudden Ancelotti come from nowhere, and it was like, that's it, he's the man, he's the one we need to go and get. Again, we don't know, because we don't get fed much directly from the club. We get fed things from people that are getting fed from the club, but various people are saying various different things. So yeah, you're right. We seem to have tried everything, and we're still in the situation effectively as to where we were when Moyes left the club, as to that, you know, we've not progressed at all. We've had a couple of decent seasons, and by decent I mean decent as in we finished in Europe under Koeman, and we had a really good season under Martinez. Everything else is just being bang average, mediocre, mid-table, dross. So we just need somebody that's going to come in, be here for the long term, 3, 4, 5 years, and ignite us, and take us forward.
We want it. Our fan base, if you can get it right, geez, it's fanatical.
It is.
Absolutely. It's the club's ripe for a plucking. It's ready to go. You know, we saw it with the 7 wins at the start of the season. You know, the Echo Falls and the
number one
Spirit of the Blues and Miley Cyrus go, what's going on here? Getting done by Everton, you know, and all of this stuff. We were ready, we're ripe for a plucking. We're hungry for it. We need something to believe in.
Absolutely.
Steve P says, why are people talking about big name players? The only big name players we could attract are washed up rejects. Exactly what we need to be avoiding. I want hungry, young, athletic players. Harder Vine says, Brand's job, we need hungry, young players. Robbie Rhino says, come on, over 700 people. Well, it's 850 now. Watching, please hit the like button. It only takes a second. Nice one, Robbie. It does only take a second, as Take That once said. Liam Munro says we need players to be attracted to the club, because at the end of the day, managers come and go, but we will always be there. Superb, yeah. Where are we? Jeff Smith says we need someone for the long haul who's going to totally invest in the club from grassroots upwards. For me, that person is Big Duncan. Sack these big managers. He's the man to take us forward. Wormy Spoon says Poch or Gaultier. I don't think we've got any chance of getting Pochettino.
And if one of the criteria is serial winner, what's Poch one?
Yeah,
What's Poch? I mean,
but I don't know whether that can be a criteria. You're right.
I know
that's what some people are saying, but there isn't any.
He lost the league. That's virtually impossible to lose.
Yeah.
For the first time in a decade, he didn't win the title.
Yeah.
With a team that wins the title every year, or second time in a decade.
Coach Dick says big dunk or Lucien Favre. The rest of the options are not suitable. Zime says, I like the possession and progression style of football, but I'm not sure if that's the kind of football Everton fans want to watch. No, we like attacking front foot football, don't we? We want to be entertained. Okay, yeah. I wasn't a big fan of Martinez's passing it round the back and 800 passes, but it was too slow and pedestrian in the second season and the third season. I want to see front foot attacking football. We had it kind of with Koeman in his first season. After Christmas, we were belting to watch it home with Barkley and Delafeu and Rom and people like that. We were flying Morales, we were flying Luckman every now and again. And then he moved away from it. Obviously, Rom went and Barkley got injured, but that was the kind of football that you went the match to watch and you were on the edge of your seat. We've not really seen that. That's all.
No, but it's also different approaches for different games, isn't it? Like some of the away performances under Ancelotti last season, we all lauded and sat here and were absolutely, ecstatic about the derby being one of them. Leicester away, and those weren't necessarily games where we played lovely attacking football, but we understood that in some games away from home, you need to defend and it will be horrible and it'll be hard to watch and it'll be difficult, but if you can get the wins, then it's brilliant. It was when we went and played Fulham at home or Brighton, or not Brighton, they played them at the start of the season, didn't we?
Fulham, Newcastle, or
Burnley, etc. When we were playing the same as what we'd play at Anfield, and it was like, why can't we just play attacking football now? We need a mix of a manager that, and that's where I think Bielsa sort of lets himself down a bit. Not lets himself down, but that's where they go gung-go, don't they? They play the same way they play every team they play against, and that means sometimes they'll win 4-0, sometimes they'll lose 6-1 or whatever it was against Man United, 6-3. But I think you need to be able to do both, don't you? And you need to be able to go into some games going, right, we're much better than these, so we're going to fly at them and we're going to come out and we're going to attack them, we're going to be fast and quick and get at them. And we need a manager that can come in and do that.
Yeah, 100% agree. 100% agree. James Morgan says too much emphasis on who the manager is to attract players. Dumb. Delboy says Moyes turned West Ham into a European side. Andy Gallagher says Conte on one of the Blag Twitter accounts, Football Insider. David Sutty says Benitez has the strength to deal with the fans and the players. We need someone with the strength of character. But the people, would Everton fans get behind him? We'd support him because he'd be the Everton manager, but I don't think it'd take long for we were like, if he was like, yeah, here's a Liverpool manager who I would have today, Brendan Rodgers. Right, and I used to rip him, and he's David Brent and all of that, and he has got a bit of David Brent about him and all of that. Look how great I am. But I think he's a really good coach, and he's coached Liverpool. I think he's a good coach. I think if he comes to Everton, he'd have a style. I think he'd get us playing well. I think he'd do well for us. But Rafa Benitez, his football is terrible. Yeah, it's absolutely boring as anything. He's a defensive counter-attacking manager. And haven't we had enough of those kind of style managers? Yeah. Now, if Benitez said, I'm coming in and I'm playing 3-4-3 or 4-3-3 and we're going to be fast attacking and my tactics will get results here, but then maybe, I don't know, maybe he can do it. But it's been a long time since he's been at that top level of his game. I don't think he's won a trophy. He's won the Italian Cup, didn't he?
Napoli.
For Napoli. And he obviously won the Champions League for Liverpool. I'm not sure, other than that, what else he's won.
He won a...
what did he win at Real?
He won a Europa League with Chelsea.
And Chelsea was in 2012, though, wasn't it? So, I don't know.
His success goes back, doesn't it?
For me, I just think it creates too many problems. Carl Tomlinson says... Carl Tomlinson says Conte. Josh Edmondson says, is Potter actually bad though? Brighton were ranked highly in terms of expected goals conceded, but his players made plenty of silly mistakes. And this again is the thing with Potter. I did this and I've looked deeper into it. I did kind of just go at first, like a lot of people going, nah, It's only won 18 games in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Nah, not for me. But I have looked deeper and gone, well, Brighton were in the top 7 for defensive actions. You know, goals conceded. They created chances like a top 4 side. They've had this and they've had, you know, they have a lot of possession. The way he plays really good. He's improved players. The goalkeeper's in the Spanish squad. Rob Sanchez, gone from nowhere in the Spanish squad. He's improved those kind of players. They play, you can look and go, that's Brighton. The minute you see them on the telly, you go, to Brighton, isn't it? Where with Everton, you could never, if someone went, well, what do Everton play? What would you say now?
I'd say we don't. Yeah.
So,
shambles.
So, you know, that's why there is. I understand all the other stuff, and I'm not trying to convince people to have Potter. I'm just saying that there's a lot of things that are right about Graham Potter for Marcel Brands and for what we actually want as a project, which is not a word I love. But I do understand the other voices that are a bit against it. I can see where people are coming from with it and going, yeah, I agree with some of it as well. I go, yeah, that is a worrying. Yeah, that is a worrying. It is a little bit simplistic to say if they had Dominic Calvert-Lewin, they'd finish in the top 4 or the top 6. Because I don't think you can quite say that. But Everton, what's clear is they made more chances than Everton last season.
Yeah.
But then the flip side of that is Everton had 59 points and they ended up with about 41. So there's always that as well. Someone's been, right, quick, let's whiz through some of these. Don't forget, we're going to be going live on the Footy Show channel in a bit for the Euros catch up. So make sure you subscribe to that and come and join us and have a general footy chat as well. But we're going to do probably about another 6 minutes on here. Do till about 1:45. Willow Wilson says, Nuno be great, but he has to show that he has learned from his mistakes at Wolves when it went wrong. Good point. Liam Monroe says, get the likes up, people. These lads go out the way to provide us with content. Cheers, boys, as always appreciated. Nice one, Liam. Nice one. Only takes a minute to give it a like. Thank you very much. Subscribe if you haven't. Why not? Tazul says, Sean Dyche. No. Kostik says, Lucien Favre. Go here. Cameron Ashworth says, trouble with Potter, our fans won't give him time. Yeah, that's a shout. But we would have to get behind him, surely, wouldn't we? Got
to get behind whoever comes in, whether we agree with it or not. What's the point of not getting behind them if they've signed on the dotted line and they're going to be the Everton manager? You may as well. You know, we've got to get behind them.
Matt Summers says, Gaultier has all the characteristics we want, but language barrier by own admission may cause an issue. I'm not on the Potter train and Dunk, I'm on the fence. Don't envy Brands making this decision. Matt, sounder, absolutely sound. You've given your opinion and respectfully you've made some good points. No issue with it, because that's probably where we're all at.
Yeah.
We're all probably going, oh, him, yeah, he's all right. Oh, what about him? Oh, I'm not convinced. What about, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's dead easy to just go, no, he's a joke, he's a disgrace, you get relegated with him. You know, we'll come up with the viable option then.
Yeah.
Gaultier, obviously, looks good. He's won a league, does forward roles and all that. Looks like he'd do a Boss Scouse accent, but might have an issue with the language and he could come in and not do very well. French coaches, Barras and Wenger, haven't done brilliantly. But, you know, who knows?
Who knows?
Exactly. Barron says Marcel Brands needs to step up. Okay. Carson says, you lot are crying out for the right manager and completely ignoring this very good, successful manager because he's English and the blue.
Who?
I don't know who Carson's on about. Just saying stuff. I'm just trying to Oh, Chris Wilder.
He's not a blue. He just said he likes Everton, and if he was to have to pick another team other than Sheffield United, it'd be Everton.
Liam says, Baz, you can't be our manager. We need a new manager to shop at Waitrose. Sorry, lad. I was only in Aldi getting some milk, I think, and something else.
Ain't nothing wrong with Aldi.
No, there's nothing wrong with Aldi. I go in every shop. I'm not no snob, mate. Adam Brooks says we need consistency. That's what we need. We do. Neil Leatherbarrow says, get liking it, lads. Paddy B says Nuno won't bring anything new. The job he's done at Wolves will be the same as Everton's. Paul Gold says, I'm just hoping it's Brands that is making the decision. Yeah, I mean, what about very quickly, Cam, before we go, and we will be going over to the Footy Show channel in a bit, so get over and subscribe. But what about Unai Emery? Would you make an approach for him?
There's the language barrier thing again, isn't he?
I'd love to hear him say Everton, though. I'm very happy to be the Everton manager. It'd be great.
There's again, very good manager, Mr. Europa League, isn't he? Really, I mean, what that man's done in that competition is absolutely breathtaking. But I think the thing that tipped him up at Arsenal was that language barrier, not being able to get over what he actually wanted to say and wanted to get over in press conferences, and it was probably the same on the training field with the players as well. So, listen, there's no doubt in how good of a manager he is. He's absolutely fantastic, and whilst he's been in Spain, he's been brilliant, be it at Sevilla, be it at Villarreal. Done all right in France as well, didn't he? So, very good manager, but again, the language barrier situation, I don't know whether he'd be able to come and do it over here. Plus, just won the Europa League with Villarreal, so would he want to drop that and come and manage Everton? I don't know.
That's it, isn't it? It's a tough one, like. Nick Palmer says, nervous as a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs at the moment over the manager situation. Hope we get this appointment right. How many more bad decisions can the club weather? That is one, isn't it?
Not many.
That is one where you are kind of looking and going, we have made some terrible decisions and we're still paying for them now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And can we make many more? Don't forget the money is ridiculous. We just keep burning money and we can't keep doing it. Holly Fletcher says, in no way Conte is coming, like you said from the start, lads. Conte's style is high pressing, using energetic players. Yeah, there's literally no chance. Blue Boy Stu says, we're desperate for football identity. Duncan would be ideal. He's a true Evertonian. Doubters get a grip. He's the best choice, in my opinion. Thanks for yesterday's shout out, lads. Loved it. That was over on Patreon. No problem, mate. Hope you had a lovely birthday. I just seen something from João Moutinho.
Yeah.
Well, João Mourinho about obviously
Moutinho.
Portuguese. I just wanted to know what he said about Nunes and I can't find it. Mary Jackson says, how many fans have not yet renewed season tickets while waiting to find out who the new manager is? Don't know. Del Boy says, Big Baz and Big Dunk together would be dynamite as manager. I'd have a go, and I wouldn't be asking for 10 million a year either. Where's that? Joe, I can't find it. I'm sure it was about Nunes. It's going to be very interesting to see what you said, but for some reason, the comment has disappeared. So hopefully you were saying if Everton get Nunes, he's amazing. And he's literally like Xavi mixed with Kaka, Gascoigne and Pele.
And Iniesta.
And Neymar, Iniesta all rolled into one.
And Cristiano Ronaldo.
With a foot like Messi.
And an attitude like Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah, there you go. Right, that is us done for today. Like I said, we're going over, we'll be, how long, Ned? So we're live on the Footy Show?
5 or 10 minutes.
So the link will go up in 5 minutes. We'll be 10 minutes maximum. We'll be live on the Footy Show talking about the Euros so far, the three of us. So get over there, give it a subscribe, check it out, and come and join in over there, and we'll have a laugh and a little bit of a chat over there. So thanks very much for watching. Give the video a thumbs up before you go. Much appreciated. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. And if you want videos like this more often, regular ones, become a patron. Why not? Take it easy. Thanks very much. Take care. See you later. Bye.